In a deed of trust, the trustor, it ends with the letter R, therefore that's the borrower. That's how I write it. Trustor, borrower. That's how I remember it. The beneficiary, it starts with the letter B, therefore it's the bank. It's the bank. So, you place your property, your house, inside of this trust for the benefit of the bank, the beneficiary. Now, there is a trustee. That's that character responsible for managing the property within the trust, right? Except for in the deed of trust, the trustee only has two powers. He has the power of sale, and he has the power of reconveyance. That's all. If you create a testamentary document, you put $1 million cash into a trust, you got kids. You know, that daughter of mine, I'm worried about her. I'll tell you what, she gets nothing until she gets herself a master's degree at San Diego State. She doesn't do it, she gets nothing. You can provide this in the trust, you can put instructions like that in there, and the trustee has to follow. However, in a deed of trust, the trustee only has two powers. The power of sale and the power of reconveyance. Those two powers spring into existence upon the occurrence of one of two events. First event, the loan is paid in full. If the loan is paid in full, the trustee has the power of reconveyance. That's like giving you the pink slip to your car, so now it's free and clear of that lien, right? But that's the power of reconveying title, free and clear to the homeowner. Free and clear of their lien. That's the power of reconveyance. It springs into existence when the loan is paid in full. The other power, the power of sale. What do you think that is? When do you think that springs into existence? It's the opposite. The borrower fails to pay. The borrower fails to pay. If the borrower fails to pay, then the trustee has the power to sell the house. He has the power to sell. That occurs in a non-judicial foreclosure. When you get the notice of default, the notice of sale, that's coming from that character called the trustee. And he's going to sell the property. Now here's the kicker. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Is that necessarily a bad thing? Well, no, not really. What is 580D? D as in David. What does that say? Here we are. It's a complicated definition, but here's what it basically says. It says when the trustee, under a deed of trust, exercises his power of sale, then as to the loan, and only that loan, referenced in the deed of trust, the borrower has no obligation to pay the remaining balance. I'll say it again. When the trustee, under a deed of trust, exercises his power of sale, no obligation to pay on the loan referenced in that deed of trust. Go home tonight. Pull out your deed of trust. Look at it. On the first or second page, it will make specific reference to a loan. Whatever loan is referenced there, 580D applies to. It's important to know that. That's called 580D protection. I don't know any other way of explaining it. It's the easiest way I know to explain it. It's more complicated. So it's when the trustee, under the deed of trust, exercises his power of sale, no obligation to pay, under 580D of the Code of Civil Procedure. Here again, this sprang into existence, going full circle here, this came into existence during the Great Depression. Part of the deal, the legislature cut with the banking industry, walked away from the deficiency balance, and you don't have to provide the borrower with fair value hearing, full sale right of redemption. So they're walking away. So we've mentioned 580D, D is employee protection, and 580D, D is in David protection. Under the Code of Civil Procedure. I am giving you just gold nuggets of law here. Okay? Those are what you're looking for. Those are the exceptions to the rule that you have to pay the remaining balance on the loan. These are statutory exceptions. There are others. We'll get into that. But these are the statutory ones. These are what you've got under California law. If you're going to replace these with anything else, any other deal that you're going to cut with the bank has got to beat what you've already got under 580D or under 580B. Otherwise, it leads to bad decision making. Now, does that make sense? Hopefully so. What happens if you got multiple loans on a property? What happens if you got multiple loans on a property? How many people here have more than one loan on the property? Don't ever raise your hand at once. A lot of people do. So I'm willing to bet you somebody at this table has more than one loan on their property. Okay? So this is so what happens in a foreclosure? What happens to the sales proceeds? I want you to imagine for a second that your house is just sold at a foreclosure sale. It's converted into cash. Somebody grabs that pile of cash, puts it in a wheelbarrow, and they go into a high school gymnasium in the middle of the basketball court. And they dump it right there in the middle of the basketball court. Standing in front of that pile of cash, 3 men with briefcases wearing 3-piece suits. And they're all staring at that pile of cash. The guy that's first in line, he's a senior lien holder or a senior lender. He's lender A. He gets to walk up to that pile of cash first. He opens up his briefcase and he starts funneling cash into that briefcase. And he will continue to do that until one of two things happen. Either his briefcase is full or the pile of cash is gone. Assuming the briefcase gets full, he's going to close the briefcase, he's going to lock it up, he's going to say, "Good day, gentlemen," to the other guys in line, and he's going to leave the gymnasium. And then the guy that's second in line will step up to the pile of cash, and he'll repeat the same drill. He'll start putting the cash into that briefcase until either the briefcase is full or the pile of cash is gone. That process will continue until either everybody's briefcases are full or the pile of cash is gone. So the million-dollar question becomes, what happens if the pile of cash is gone and there's still somebody standing in line? That's called an unfortunate development. That's an unfortunate development. Because they're going to be looking for their money. They're going to be looking for their money. Okay? And we're going to talk about that. What happens? How does all that work? Well, remember I told you there's two contracts. There's the promissory note or the loan. There's something called the deed of trust. On the loan side, when the borrower repossesses the collateral, that's on the deed of trust side. That's on the deed of trust side. That's what he does on the deed of trust side. When he sues the borrower, he does that on the loan side. Okay, remember what I said? A lender essentially has two alternatives to get their money. Repossess, sue. Okay? So what happens in a foreclosure? In order to determine how much money you're going to be responsible for paying, you have to look at each individual loan. Each individual loan. And you have to ask that question as to each individual loan. Because if the lender comes after you, they're going to be coming after you on a breach of contract claim. They're going to come after you on a breach of contract claim. So in order to determine who's going to come after you for what, you have to understand what happens to the collateral in the event of a foreclosure. Okay. The rule is this. When a lien holder or lender forecloses on property, all junior lien holders, guys standing behind them in line, have their liens stripped away from the property. They lose their collateral. All senior lien holders, guys in front of them in line, retain their collateral. Senior lien holders retain, junior lien holders lose their collateral. So if you're looking over at this example, lender A, B, and C, if lender A